I am tired. It is late. Just made a beat. Still gotta mix it, sequence it, and track it out. It's worth it though. But it's kicking my Bolo! All right, before we get started, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys comment, and please hit that notification bell so you guys will know when I have the next video available. And at the end of this video, or in the beginning, or in the middle of the video, if you like it, hit that thumbs up. If you do not like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs down, as you guys already know. And I probably said this a million times, so here's 1,000,001. I really don't care. So, a lot of you guys have noticed that lately I've been doing a lot of my beats basically in a DAWless setup. Pretty much the only time that I use a computer is just basically to track everything in and to mix it inside of the computer using either Logic or Studio One. I've been using Studio One a lot. Haven't forgot about Logic, but I've just been using Studio One a lot more because it's just a very interesting program that I just kind of want to get to know. But Logic is still my #1 choice. But as of lately, I've been doing a lot of stuff inside of the MP because, as you guys know, at one point I was going to get rid of everything, and some of you guys were like, "You're not going to get rid of it, trust me." And I didn't. I went ahead and kept it, and I'm glad I did, because lately a lot of the beats I've been making now have been coming out very good. I'm actually kind of excited how everything's coming along, and even though things take a little bit longer, things are sounding so much better. Like, I was playing beats with some other producers the other day, and the beats I had stood out, and everybody kept asking me what program was I using, how did I get my drums to sound so big, like what was I doing. And I just basically told them, like, I just been making beats, you know, DAWless. I've been using my keyboards and just using my MP. And even though the beats were not as intricate as like some of the other producers, the sound was so big that, you know, the artist that was in the room picked like 3 of my beats and wanted to record to them immediately because just how much richer my beats sounded, like just the depth of the sounds and how much bigger they sounded. Even though, you know, we all are trap style producers, it was just something that captivated the artist a little bit more than the other producers. And a lot of these guys are, you know, just like me, they're multi-platinum producers, and man, it was a lot of competition. What won over the artist that night was how good my stuff sounded. And that's one thing I can say, you know, just in my personal opinion, my one opinion, out of the 7 billion, 8 billion people on this earth, I feel like a DAWless sound just sounds better. Even though it takes so much just to get things done in a DAWless setup, I think it just sounds better. If you listen to the tracks back in the day, you listen to how they sound, they were just so much bigger, and they had that one little something, that one little element to it that just made it sound so much better. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great technology out. Like, I have a ton of VSTs, and I'm actually gonna get more because when I go on the road, I can't really take my whole DAWless setup like that. But there is a lot of great VSTs out there that sound very good. And let's be real, a lot of the keyboards right now, the DAWless keyboards, are really nothing but computers. And, you know, the sounds coming out of them are basically replicated the same way a lot of these VSTs are doing it. However, like I say to all of the posts, to people who come at me and say, well, it's not really a DAWless thing if you're going into a computer, and the keyboards nowadays are basically computers and all this other type of stuff. The one thing that you cannot take away from a DAWless setup is this: the A to D conversion. When you have to come out from an analog source to go into a digital source, you have to hit some type of a preamp. And when you hit that preamp a certain way, sounds do something. That energy turns into something else. And it doesn't matter what you really use, but when you run something through that preamp, whether it be on either a cheap preamp or even an expensive preamp, that conversion is taking place and something happens that's magical, just to me. Now, I'm an older producer, you know. I've been around for a few years, and I think a lot of the guys who watch this channel are pretty, you know, most of you guys are like in your 30s, 40s, you know. So you guys will understand that, you know, the sound that was made back in the day, if you hear those records right now, they might not be louder than the records that are coming out right now, but if you listen to those records versus the records now, you can just hear a richness. You had to have 1/4-inch cables. You had to have XLR cables. You had to have cables. You had to run that energy through those cables, that heat through those cables to hit a preamp, and then from there it would go to either a board, to the tape machine, or even through a digital source. And I'm telling you right now, doing that is almost like a cheat code when it comes to mixing, because the sound is just so raw and it just sounds so much better. That's why you're seeing a lot of producers right now using a lot of analog gear. Like if you look right now on a few pictures of some of your favorite producers right now, a lot of them are using analog gear. Travis Scott, you know what I'm saying, using analog gear. Metro Boomin, if you see pictures of him now, you see him with tons of analog gear, because that sound cannot be replicated. I don't care what you do, that sound cannot be replicated. That's just my personal opinion. Now, y'all might feel different, but that's just my personal opinion. You ain't gotta beat me up. I'm just being honest with you guys. But it just sounds so much better coming out. And now that I'm doing a lot of the heavy duty mixing inside of my Dawless setup, I feel like when I take it back in the box, I don't really have to do too much, because I'm doing most of the heavy lifting in the setup. And I think it sounds great. I think my last couple of beats, even the stuff that I played here online or whatever, if you listen to it, it just sounds better. Now, I make beats on my laptop, I make beats on here, and I can just compare, and I feel like I have to do more to get it sounding the way I want to sound. Now, it's not to say that what you guys use is better than anything else. Now, some people are just better at making beats in the DAW, and some people are better at making beats in a Dawless setup. I feel like if you give me anything, I can make a beat on it, to tell you the truth. But when it comes down to mixing, overall sound, I gotta say that this way is my way. And even though it sucks having to do it the long way, the long form as I call it, to where you have to do everything inside of the MP and create sequences and make a whole sequence of the beat. Then from there you have to bounce it down, or you have to make an 8-bar loop and then turn around and have to bounce it down in the computer and then stretch it out that way. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but I really can say that I'm very pleased and I'm very happy about where my stuff is going right now, and I'm very happy about how it's sounding. It just sounds incredible. For all you guys who want to do a Dawless setup, I'm going to tell you a few things that you're going to need. Number one is you're going to need a pretty fat pocket, because if you want to get some of the stuff that I got, it's going to cost a pretty penny, but it's something that you'll enjoy for a long time. Another thing that you're going to need is time. It's not going to be as fast as doing everything on the laptop or your computer or whatever. It's not going to be that fast. But I think that the time that you put into it and the corrections that you can make in it, and it forces you just to be limited to the sources that you have, it makes things sometimes a little bit easier because you're more hands-on with it. And the last thing you'll need is your imagination, forward-thinking imagination. You're almost going to have to visualize or hear what you want that sound to sound like before you even get done with it. You got to know what effects and everything you're going to put on it afterwards. So you might use a piano, but you might want to add phase to it, or you might want to add a delay or reverb to it. But a lot of times you have to do it afterwards, but in the box. You can do it either through the keyboard or the MP, either way. But it forces you to become a creator, like a lot of those guys did back in the day. And I can appreciate that. You know, hey, I'm a little older and I appreciate things like that. And I think a lot of you guys might appreciate it a lot too, because it's fun. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a lot of work, but it's very fun. And I think, you know, if you guys got into it, you'll understand how fun it could be, and then you'll start to hear the difference of an analog setup versus a digital setup. Now, at the end of the day, I actually like FL Studio. I like how it sounds. Like, I think the way the drums hit on that, they sound incredible. But, you know, at the end of the day, I like how Logic and, you know, Studio One is more or less like for players. You can do more live stuff with it. And, you know, and then you got the Cubases out here. You got the Reasons. You got so many different things. You even got the Cakewalks. But I think at the end of the day, there's still a place for Dawless Production. I think that a lot of people are coming back to it because, you know, the computer is one thing. A Dawless setup is something totally different. You're confined to what you have, and you're forced. You're definitely forced to become a real creative with it. So I want you guys to tell me, what do you think about a Dawless setup? Have you ever tried it? Do you think you ever get into it? Or if you are into it, do you think you'll ever go back to your regular setup after you've been through a Dawless setup? So let me know. You know, leave some comments in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this video. You know, I hope it was informative and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So like I always say, peace out.